Hello and welcome to the Bonus XP podcast. I'm your host Luke Morgan and I'm joined as always by the two beautiful bearded boys, Conan and Griner.
Evening. You've left the bearded boy club, Luke.
I have. Supporting Movember, so I've de-aged 10 years because mentally I've aged 20, so need to do something.
It balances out.
But yes, much like Lazarus, interstellar reference, we are back from the dead. We haven't done a podcast in a while.
Not the Bible reference.
No, it's the interstellar reference. We are back from the dead with another episode of the Bonus XP podcast. Had a lot going on. I didn't renovate this room. I pay people to renovate this room, so I haven't had my desk set up or anything in here for a while. But we're back, and we're going to be current and hot, and everyone's going to love us. We're going to be here every fortnight moving forward. What we do here, usually every fortnight, is the three of us gather around the internet campfire and each bring a topic or news item from the gaming world that we want to discuss. But we usually start every podcast by discussing what we have been playing. And it's been a while, so we have been playing a lot, especially one of us has been playing a lot of games. Conan, we'll start with you first. What have you been playing? What have you been playing recently?
Much like you, I assume, Luke, this past month, 2 months, I can't remember when we last recorded. My life now is very busy and full of exhausting things, so I don't get much time to do this because I'm also trying to finish my book by the end of the year. And so all my spare time that I have is generally filled up with writing or trying to watch movies to at least pretend like I'm a cinephile. So I haven't played much. I did play a little bit of To the Moon, which is like a small art house indie game from 2011. So I'm keeping up with the relevant stuff.
Yeah.
But I think I bought this on Steam in like 2013, and I finally started playing it. So I don't know, that's a thing. But I haven't played heaps of it, but yeah, it's I'm enjoying that. It's got sorry, yeah.
I was gonna say I heard a rumor on the streets that you would actually let your Game Pass subscription expire.
Oh yeah, they're talking about me, aren't they?
So are you just
John
not
Morris.
in?
Yeah, no, look, I went through a little bit of a cleanse in the past while getting rid of subscription services. So I let my Netflix expire, didn't renew it, which was it's pretty nice. I mean, Netflix is great. It is healthy. I'm glad you say that. So I think there's that. I let my Stan expire as well, which I wasn't going to, but then they tried to up the price by $2. The jerks. So screw them. So, and I also let one other one. And I mean, Binge I didn't have at the moment anyway. So I only have the two ones there that I share with people because
WWE?
the WWE and the reality TV one.
Yes.
I can't remember what.
Yeah. And I thought it was Anime Lab. Fair
enough. Crunchyroll.
So I've only got the ones there, and that's more than enough because we just weren't using them, and I found myself spreading myself thin for no reason. And so in the same vein, I was like, wait, I haven't played a game in 2 months. I have Game Pass, and I'm not using it. And I look at it like Game Pass is definitely worth money if there's usually there's like 1 or 2 games you want to play, but
yeah,
I looked at it and at one point I was like, there's not really anything here I'm desperate to. And so I was just like, look, I would rather just get rid of it for a while, and then when I need play some of the games I already own, and then when I'm out, come back to it and do it that way. So
and then the very next day, for the first time in months, we reached out to you and we're like, "Hey, jump on Game Pass. We're playing this game online. You should play with us."
It was very within like a week, I feel, and I was like, "Take that away."
Of course. So, what have you been playing? Breath of the Wild and To the Moon.
Yeah, played a bit of To the Moon. There's not much to say so far. It's a small kind of like, in the style of the classic Zeldas. I'm not sure what that genre is called.
Zelda-like.
No, is that the gameplay or the art style?
I think dungeons and all that you can.
All right, let's just call it a Zelda-like then. It looks like Zelda, so we'll call it a Zelda-like, but it's not. It's purely story-based game. But it's got an amazing soundtrack so far. And so I'm really keen to have an emotional ride with that.
Nice.
And I've been playing Breath of the Wild, trying to finish that finally. I've defeated two of the last 2 beasts, so I'm up to Ganon now. So I'm nearing the end.
So you've done all the beasts.
Done all the beasts now. So nice. I think where I last left you guys, I was trying to get into Gerudo City.
Yes.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then within like the week, I've gotten into Gerudo City, conquered it. I mean, there's nothing to conquer, but I've done Gerudo City, killed the beast, and then I just ran up, found the tower, and killed Skybird. So I'm ready to wreck some face with Ganon.
Yes. Nice. Nice.
And I am keen to be done with it just because I feel like I've been playing this game for a long time, even though 6 months of that's been dead.
Yep.
I've been, this is the game I've been playing, quote unquote. So I'm keen to finish it and get on that. That's
Nice.
good. I was gonna message you guys. I forgot to. I'm like, Breath of the Wild is really fun. It's just fun to run around and explore
Yeah.
and just fly off stuff. Like I
It's a
know you.
game.
I know this hurts you, but it's
No,
fun.
it's hey. I feel like Breath of the Wild is the only thing I've kept my Switch for all these years. I feel like it's a game that every now and again I think I could just put it on and play. I never have, but
Yeah,
I feel like I could if I did.
if
I
I
would
needed
enjoy
to.
You
playing
need to
it.
have that opportunity if it ever
If
arises,
it
right?
arises, I can do that. Um, but yeah, well, are you going to be moving on to that God of War next?
I will. No, I will. I was thinking because I was like,
Nice.
I should start God of War, and I was going to, but I was like, no, I've really got to finish Breath of the Wild because I'll never
Yeah,
finish it otherwise.
yeah.
So it is very much the next game on my radar. I'm keen to do it because I would like to play Ragnarok in a reasonable window of its release
I
to at
would
least,
like you to as
you
well.
know, to at least pretend like I can talk to you guys about it.
Yeah.
But
See,
I'm gonna, yeah,
I think you're gonna love it. I think next time we do this podcast, you'll have a shaved head. You'll have the red paint down the side.
it'll
You'll
just,
be calling us boy.
boy, yeah,
No, not
it's
Arthur
been long.
Morgan. No,
Oh, okay, I'm gonna do
not the
that. I'll
Arthur
do
Morgan
that.
accent.
I'll,
Okay,
I'll dress as Arthur Morgan instead.
true. Well, speaking of Game Pass and reaching out to Conan in a desperate plea of wanting companionship, um, speaking of what I've been playing with, I haven't played many games recently. I did have myself a game night last Friday with Grana, actually.
Oh, whoa,
We didn't
Was
we didn't
there?
invite Conan.
that was
Even though he lives
bullshit.
right near us, we didn't invite him. No, so we played a game that I want to talk about because I really, really enjoyed it. And I feel like we ended up playing it for like 4 or 5 hours. And it was a game I hadn't heard of before. Ryan had told me to download it the day before, and that's Spider Heck. Um, I love this game. It's so fun. It's so simple.
Yeah.
It's challenging, and
Yep.
it's just catchy. Like I feel like the music's like you get all the rhythmic and you get into it. Conan, have you seen anything this game?
No, I was gonna say, explain to me what the heck Spider Heck
The heck
is.
is basically picture Spider Heck. Like no, so
Oh, okay.
little neon level. I'm probably not good at describing this. Little spiders. You create your own little spiders. You fight off enemies, space invaders, but on steroids. You're fighting off enemies left, right, and center. But it's also got that aspect of it of like team damage. So friendly fire, you can
Yep.
accidentally kill your team. There's weapons that spawn very similar to Smash Brothers or anything on the map. You're basically trying to kill all the enemies and get through waves of these enemies.
Yeah.
So
So it's a 2D game. Think like Geometry Wars. It looks a lot like that, or something like that. And it's got a physics part to it as well. So often,
you got to swing your web and
you're swinging around on webs, or you'll knock something. You might knock a bomb into a friendly player and accidentally kill them. Or
yeah.
there's lots of chaotic moments like that, which make for a lot of fun.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Like there's a nuke that basically destroys half the map, and
Yeah.
you accidentally bump that, and everyone's like run and like trying to swing, and like their web flings them back around into the blast zone, and it's like it can be a lot of
Okay.
fun. Can be a
That
lot
sounds
of
pretty fun.
chaos. My 7-year-old son stayed up with us till 1 a.m. playing Spider Heck, and
Nice.
he very much reminded me of myself in my younger days. Very much was
Yes.
trolling us and just kept killing us.
Yeah.
Grana caught him at one point where I wasn't paying attention because I was like talking to Grana, and my son just like saw me next to him and was holding like a lightsaber thing, was just like doop, and just killed me. It was like, oh, well, I'm dead for this round. Thanks,
Yeah.
thanks for that, buddy. He
No
loves setting
remorse.
off bombs
And
and
then
just letting them go.
you didn't just go, you're grounded for 2 weeks now, no more video games?
No,
Okay.
like it gave me a tear in my eye because I remember years ago, Grindr getting frustrated with me in Helldivers where I kept
Yep.
team killing us all.
Yep.
So I was like,
Very
oh
similar
look,
game in some ways.
now
Yeah.
I know what it feels like.
Sunrise, sunset.
But honestly, I think that's the sort of game that can like thrive on Game Pass or PlayStation Plus or whatever, where it's just these fun games that I would never have seen a game called Spider Hack and just bought it,
No.
Yep.
not knowing it or anything. But free game pops up on Game Pass. I'm like, yeah, I'll download that. Or Grant tells me to download it because it's fun. I'm like, okay, I'll download that, and end up, it, had all these AAA games for us to play, and it's just like we spend 5 hours playing Spider Hack, and it didn't get boring. I felt like I could have kept playing. It was like, okay, no, let's try and beat our score. Let's try and get past that point. And the next day, me and my son playing again. We're like, okay, let's see if we can beat our score. Let's see. No chance.
Yeah, right
We
on.
didn't get near it. But it was a lot of fun. So I would suggest everyone to check out Spider Hack. Conan, I suggest you resubscribe to Game Pass. I can't believe I'm saying that. And you should play with us one night. It'd be fun.
As soon as I do, it's the first thing I'll download.
Oh, perfect. We can also
Let
play
us
some
know,
of that
yeah.
awesome Halo multiplayer.
That
which
was
we're
fun for a
enjoying.
while.
It was fun. It was fun. I didn't play too much of that. We tried to play some Halo 3-player split screen, but apparently that doesn't exist in a lot of
Cooperative mode doesn't exist.
cooperative
Yeah.
cooperative 3-player.
All right, yeah, no, I thought you meant you tried to play 3-player online. I'm like, they don't even have that.
No, but
No, we did play some split screen Halo 3 for a bit, which was fun.
yeah.
Oh, Halo 3.
I forgot how much fun it was to look at other people's screen to figure out where they are to screen cheat.
Screen cheating is
It's
the best.
such a good skill to have.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it is.
It's great. We were all raised on that. Which makes me more keen for when GoldenEye comes out.
I was just looking that up right now. God,
Yeah.
I remastered.
I think not till early next year, but I'm very keen for that to come out again. Other than that, I haven't been playing too much. I've been wanting to play God of War again just before Ragnarok comes out, but I don't think I can because I feel like it would probably ruin the experience of Ragnarok.
That would burn me out, I think, personally.
It burned me out. I think I might rewatch like the story of it on YouTube or like a synopsis or anything because it has been 4 years since I played that game.
Apparently there is like a teaser, like not a teaser, but there's like a little catch-up video at the start of the game.
Cool. There you go, Conan. You don't even need to play it.
Apparently,
ignore the game.
It's only useful if you played the first game. Apparently, like it's only to remind you of things.
I would definitely say to play it, Conan. It did beat Red Dead 2 in Game of the Year.
Criminal, just criminal.
But other than that, yeah, I want to catch up on God of War before Ragnarok comes out because reviews are coming out and it looks the goods. Other than that, I haven't been playing too much. I didn't get Gotham Knights because I know. I even put it on my fantasy league. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I could have had God of War Ragnarok and I went with Gotham Knights. No,
You shut the bed.
bloody hell. So, Griner, you're the man of the hour. What have you been playing?
Apparently, I've been playing a lot of stuff. I won't go deep into stuff unless you guys want me. Won't go deep into everything. Get straight into Days Gone. Unless you guys want me to.
Eat your
Days
words.
Gone. I didn't play Days Gone. So last time we spoke, I hadn't finished Horizon Forbidden West. I had opinions about it. I have now finished it. Those developers don't want you to have fun. They it frustrates me so many times. They just hate fun. The glider is a glorified parachute. You cannot glide across the landscape with it. But the thing that made me really frustrated is they give you a flying mount so you can fly around the map. And I'm like, this is going to be so cool. This is going to open up this open world. They don't give it to you to the third last mission, at the end of the game.
I hate that shit.
The point in the story, the world is falling apart and you need to hurry the hell up and solve it. So while you could go around and dawdle and do whatever you want, there's a lot of pressure from the story elements to make you push you forward in the game, which I think is a problem that a lot of open world games struggle with. But it was felt particularly oppressive here because I finally got the flying mount. And now the world's about to end. I need to save it. And that flying mount is freaking slow. It is so slow. Why not just let me zoom around the world? You're going to let me fly. Why can't I fly fast? It baffles my mind how
They're not
poorly they
jets.
implemented that.
They're robot dinosaurs.
No, they're not. They're not jets at all. I was so annoyed at how slow it was, and they have this moment where you fly down through this gully, and all the tribes are cheering for you because you're the first person to ride one of those in, as a thing of legend, and now you're doing it. But it's so slow and awkward, and I was just like, hurry the hell up. Anyway, there's a few other moments in that game where they really hate fun. The plot is
Don't spoil it for Conan.
No, but it is definitely the middle story in a trilogy, which is in the worst ways possible. That can be done well. It's not done well here.
Yep, that's it.
It totally ruins the final act.
That's a shame.
Cool ideas though, and I'm intrigued to where it goes. Definitely.
I mean, like, I'll play the third one for sure. Like, I'm somewhat invested in Aloy and these characters now.
I mean, hell, the game of the generation is going to come out a week after it, so.
Yeah, I'm more excited for that though.
That unannounced game, who knows what it'll be? It's going to be a banger.
Other games I just want to touch on briefly. Scorn.
Oh, you played it.
Yeah.
Conan, have you not played Scorn?
I haven't played
you
any.
might have played it.
As I've just said, I haven't played anything.
I
don't
know,
have Game
but
Pass.
Scorn.
We literally had this conversation.
I know.
Scorn.
I did see things. I saw things coming out saying it's really just more of a puzzle game than it is anything else.
So for some reason I was expecting a first-person shooter. It is not that. It is not that at all. That game, the art style, very, very well done. Like, the art in that game is disgusting. I hate looking at it, but it's doing that on purpose, and I really, really respect it for that, and I enjoyed that part of it. Even the puzzling, I didn't dislike. Like, the first puzzle, you're pushing around this little disfigured baby-looking thing in this trolley, and you can't look away from it because you've got to push this trolley along really slowly, and it's just like, this is oppressive. Very well done. Good job. This is what you wanted to do to me. But there's combat in that game, and I get why it's there. Like, it's to put some time pressure on you, to put some pressure on you in this game, because it's kind of like a survival horror type thing. But the combat is just woeful.
Oh, really?
Like, really, really bad. I died several times at this point that was very combat heavy, and I just quit the game. I'm like, I just don't want to do this.
Really?
And this was in the third of 5 acts, so it's a very short game. So I don't know, if you're interested, like, you can finish it in an afternoon for sure. But
okay.
I wasn't enjoying it enough to sit through that combat. It's just appalling. Some of the worst I've ever played.
It's clunky and slow.
Yeah, the character moves really slow. The weapon you have is very ineffective. The enemies have aim hacks, like you can't dodge their projectiles half the time.
Right.
And there's no, like, obvious weak spots to exploit. Like, it feels bad. It feels really, really bad. And the checkpointing is not very good either. So dying sent me back a long way, much further than I wanted to go. And I was enjoying the puzzle part of it. If they just cut out most of the combat, I wouldn't have been unhappy about it.
That's a shame. Okay.
Yeah, like 10 out of 10 for, like, the atmosphere and the art direction. But that combat, absolutely atrocious.
That's a shame.
I touched Death Stranding and decided I don't want to play through that game.
Which surprised me. It seemed like, I felt like it was a game you could have got hooked on.
If I didn't know if I hadn't watched a 14-hour movie of the story of that game when it came out,
it actually is 14. Yeah, I've watched it too. Yeah,
I would be a lot more interested in playing through that game. Like, it has a pretty good story. It's a very Kojima story, but it's pretty good. Yeah. But knowing where everything is going story-wise,
nothing about the gameplay. Like, did you enjoy it at all, or were you just like, no?
I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. And people say you're not supposed to love it. Like, I've heard a lot of reviews saying, like, there's a tedium and a frustration with the gameplay, and because the game opens up where people are building into the world to make things easier. It makes you appreciate that more. It's a strand game. You've got to be connected to other people. But I don't think I have the patience to get to that point, especially knowing everything that, like, I've seen the whole story. So there's nothing driving me from a story perspective. If there was, I might be more interested.
Fair enough.
Plague Tale Requiem. That came out. Really enjoying that game. It's very much Plague Tale. They've upgraded the combat a bit in some good ways, and they've simplified a lot of the mechanics. So, Yeah, like in the first game, you were crafting a lot of things, and you had a weapon wheel that was like a dozen, had a dozen notches in it by the end of the game for all the different things you could craft. And so you might be able to throw a bomb down at your feet to scare away any rats and stuff like this. In this, there's 4 weapons. So there's your sling, your thrown weapons, your crossbow and jars, and then each of those can be crafted with any of the 4 types of crafting that you do. It's like it's really, really well simplified. Like I really enjoy the system they've put in place there. And the crafting doesn't use materials that you need to craft like your weapon stuff anymore, which is really, really good because that always frustrated me in the first game as well.
That's good.
I'm missing, the story's good so far. I'm about halfway through, I think. I'm missing, I don't know, there's a really fun found family story in the first one, where this band of kids come together to basically take down an empire. And I haven't met any other kids really in this, and I don't know, I'm kind of missing that element of it. I think there's a found family thing coming together now, but yeah, I don't know. I want some more kids. I like the kind of kids take over the world story. It was fun.
Okay, that's good.
Overwatch 2. Overwatch 2 is Overwatch 1 re-released. I really liked Overwatch 1, so I'm really enjoying Overwatch 2. I don't have a whole lot more to say about that. We might talk about its monetization a bit later. But yeah, it's still that game. It still has the same, it still kept that Blizzard polish that it had from the start, in terms of like the lore they inject in this multiplayer game. That works really well. So I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying these characters yelling out their catchphrases and stuff. It's a lot of fun. But
I'm sure it's popular, obviously. Like I'm sure a lot of people are playing it. I feel like I haven't heard any. Like you brought it up the other day, and I was like, oh, it's out. I didn't even realize like.
So the big thing about it is they announced Overwatch 2 to have the PvE element, but they haven't released that. This is just the PvP part.
Yes, that's the thing. So it's almost like it's a beta or like an open beta, but because it's also free to play, so it hasn't had that big push like a AAA release or anything like that. But just might just be my circles, but I just surprised that I haven't seen many people talking about it. But
apparently it's gotten more players than Overwatch 1 ever had.
Wow,
at the moment.
Really?
So apparently it's actually doing pretty well, and I've seen a lot of people, because there's a new Modern Warfare 2 out, and a lot of people are turning away from it and going to Overwatch. From what I've seen, maybe it's because I'm on the pro Overwatch side that I'm seeing that. There's probably people in the Modern Warfare subreddit
on the
going
Call
the
of
other
Duty
way.
forum, they said Overwatch sucks. No, well, that's the thing. I feel like even this Call of Duty has come out with more of a whimper than any year, because I know critically it wasn't, like IGN gave it a 6, which is surprising because everyone rips on IGN for giving every Call of Duty a 9, even though literally everyone in the comments was ripping on IGN for giving it a 6 last week. It's like they can't win, but they're like, you've been paid off. But it just seems like not many people are interested in that, and I don't know if that's a curse on the Call of Duty has brought on itself with Warzone. This battle royale that they've got free to play that everyone has been playing for years now, where it's like, oh well, why do I need a new Call of Duty? I'll just keep playing Warzone. I don't know. It seems like it's not really making rounds.
And my understanding is there's a sequel to Warzone coming out soon, so I think
Apparently
that might be the big popular boost that Call of Duty needs or wants.
Yeah.
All right.
Poor Call of Duty.
Yeah,
little indie team. All right.
Well, two games I'd like to go into a bit deeper. So the first one is Returnal. Last year's Game of the Year by some, and it might have been mine too. I really, really loved Returnal. Roguelikes are a genre that I really enjoy. I've played a hell of a lot of them, but they've always been like the domain of the indie developer. I felt like it's somewhat easier to make a roguelike because players are repeating content over and over again, trying to make a little way further, and you often include random elements in that. So it's a lot less work on the developers because they can, the content's getting played over and over again. That extends the longevity of the game without creating a whole bunch of new content. This game felt like a AAA roguelike in a lot of ways.
And this is from Housemark, who made Resogun and all that sort of stuff. This is a big step up for them, and this is obviously the first game they made after being acquired by Sony. Like they'd always had a working relationship with Sony, but they are now a Sony first-party studio. And like that's the thing. Looking at this game, I remember when it was announced, because I liked the name. I was like, that's a cool name, Returnal. But like, yeah, it's a big step up from Resogun. It looks it looks a lot more AAA than Resogun, but you can see the DNA of Resogun like
Yeah.
in this game.
This
I wish I was good at these sort of games because I bought it on release date. I pre-ordered it, I bought it. I remember sitting down that night and getting all like, yes, I'm so excited for this. Kept dying, and I was like, oh man, I suck at this. And then I quit after a few hours. But what I like, every time I see a clip of like a boss battle from that game, I sit and watch it, and I'm like sort of in awe of how people are moving in that game, and like just the amount of skill it looks like it's required to beat some of them bosses.
Yeah.
I knew this would be like the game for you. I was like, Griner will love this game. So
yeah, no, I always had a feeling. I was always resentful that it's not something I had a console to play it on, but now I do. But yeah, the bosses really, really good. Like they really bring that bullet hell style over to 3D, and it works really, really well. You get some cool like psychedelic patterns while you're fighting bosses. It's a lot of fun. But then they also put a pretty good little story in there, which really, really surprised me. And I wanted to spoil a moment for you guys. I hope that's okay. If you're listening and you're really attached to the Returnal story and you haven't finished it yet,
played it,
turn it off. But I mean, the basic gist of the game is your character has crash landed on a planet, and now they keep traversing this world and dying and coming back again, and they keep looping and they keep finding their body in this world and finding recordings of themselves. And it's your typical time loop story. Like we've seen this time and time again. I think, was it last year was the year of the time loop? There was like several time loop games.
It was.
This was just one of them. Anyway, you're making your way through this game, and you get to the third world, and it's really hard. Like the boss in the third world is this huge like godlike figure that you're fighting, and it feels like the end of the game. Like it's a good way into the game too. It's like 15 hours, which is pretty long for a roguelike.
Yeah, definitely.
And you're fighting this boss and you defeat it finally, and you get up to this beacon that you've been chasing. You've been chasing the white signal this whole time, and you find out that it's a distress beacon that you had set off in one of your other traversals through the game, and all you have to do is wait to be rescued. And so you wait and you get rescued, and it shows you come back to Earth. There's a news story about you, about how you were lost on this planet and you've come back, and you see your daughter again, you see your family, and then there's a funeral scene, and you get this, the coffin being lowered into the ground, and then all of a sudden you're transported back to the planet and you start again. The loop,
so she still
the loop was nothing to do with the planet. It was to do with you.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's this huge psych out moment because it's like, oh shit, I finished the game, and now you're back again, and it's like, what the hell? And she hates it. She has a big breakdown. It's really, really, really well done. It's a really good moment.
Cool.
I just feel like you pulled the rug out from under me.
Yeah, it did it to me too. I'm like, what the hell? I thought I'd just finished this. Like, I was like, this is kind of a sweet ending. Like, I was not expecting this, and then it's just like rug pull. And you're back on this planet, and things are aged on the planet. Like, things aren't the same. It's weird.
Oh wow!
Cool.
And then the rest of the story The rest of the story continues on, and then you get the real story, I guess, of what's going on. And I won't spoil that for you. I mean, I can if you want, but there's a really, really good second half there as well. To me, that's the big moment. But there's an interesting story going along there, and not many roguelikes can pull that off. To me, Hades is another one that pulls off a really good story. But, oh, man, this moment, you're just transported back to Earth, and you see yourself die of old age, and then you respawn on this planet. Old age and
everything, that's nuts.
It's wild. It's very, very well done.
Yeah. That's so cool. That's a really cool twist. Wow. Okay, so you've finished it, obviously, now, like the full ending.
I finished it. I was actually tempted to platinum it. I really, really enjoyed this game, and I don't often go back to games after I finish them, but I played through more of this game and there's a second ending you can get, so I went and got that. Well worth it. And really enjoyed it.
There was an expansion, wasn't there? So you've done
it's like an endless mode, so it's not.
Oh, okay.
I haven't actually played much of it.
Apparently it was pretty good, and then they released the co-op as well, which I'm keen to.
Yes. Yeah, I'd be keen to play co-op with you. I think the co-op will be a little bit Dark Soulsy. Like if one person dies, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah.
But
especially if it's you.
It seems like it would be fun. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to jump back in that world again because it's so much fun.
That sounds like a really cool twist. I really
I
like
couldn't
that.
believe. I'm like, this is so good.
Yeah.
Such a good moment. All right, I've got another game for you guys. Can we play a little game with it? Can we play a little game about this game?
Okay.
I'm going to tell you features of this game, and you can tell me when you're not interested in it.
Okay.
Now, this is going to be different for the two of you. Luke, I think you're going to bow out early. I'm sorry. But let me describe this.
Genre.
It's a card game. It's a trading card game.
I'm out.
It's designed by Ben Brode, who you should know as he left Hearthstone. He left Blizzard. He was the original game director at Blizzard when they made Hearthstone. He left to make his own company. So this is a card game by the DNA of the Hearthstone people.
Cool.
It's free to play, but it has probably the fairest free to play model I've ever seen. Like, you can't pay to get more powerful, really. Everything you do to gain power relies on you playing. You can pay it's mostly cosmetic stuff. It will level you up faster, but for the most part, it's very, very fair in terms of its monetization. It's available on mobile and PC. The mobile app for this game is really, really good. So I've played a lot of card games on mobile, and they're shocking. Like, shuffling through cards is really awkward. You've got these big ass hands, and it's just too much. Don't get me started on playing Magic the Gathering on your phone. There's too many steps and orders of things, and it's just a nightmare. This game works really, really well on mobile. I think it's mostly ground up for mobile. You still interested, Conan?
I'm still here, yeah.
It's based on it's a Marvel IP.
Oh, get out.
Damn it, I knew that would take you out of it. Look,
Hold on. I'm back. What was this? What's this game about?
I know it sounds bad. This is called Marvel Snap. It's one
I was wondering why you hadn't said the name yet. I was wondering why.
It's a really, really, really good card game. Even if you don't like Marvel, I really, really recommend it. It's based on the comics mainly. Like, I haven't seen Chris Pratt in here anywhere.
Oh.
But the gameplay of this card game is chef's kiss. Like, it's really well designed for mobile. Games take less than 5 minutes to play. Most of the time they're like 3 minutes. Oh, yeah. So you can be just like, I don't know, taking a 5-minute break at work and you can finish a game. Like I said, the monetization's really, really fair, and it's the only card game I've ever played that cares about you collecting cards, because that's how as you grow, you level up cards to make them look different. So they start off as basic cards, and then you level it up once, and a frame breaks it. So, weapons are coming out of the frame. The character's no longer inside the card, and then they go turn 3D, so that when you play it, there's a slight 3D effect. and then they animate, so they might be shooting bullets or something like that, and then they go shiny, stuff like that. So you're upgrading your cards, and that improves your collection, which unlocks more cards. The deck sizes are only 12 cards. It's really easy just to be like, I've got an idea for a deck, and throw something together. It's so well thought out for a mobile game. I cannot recommend this game enough if you like trading card games. Sorry, it's a Marvel property.
This could be the gateway drug that gets Conan back into the MCU.
Or gets you into trading card games.
Yeah.
Or it could be both of our gateway drugs. Yeah.
Marvel Snap, highly recommended. I've played a hell of a lot of it in the last week.
Recently, yeah.
Do you play it on PC ever, or is it only laptop?
No, I've only played it on mobile.
Okay. Well, do you know, what's the battery consumption like? Because my biggest issue was when I played Hearthstone on my mobile, it just drained the battery like no tomorrow.
It's been better than Hearthstone for sure. My phone doesn't get super hot while playing it. My phone I've had battery issues with recently anyway, so this hasn't helped that. But TikTok uses more battery. When I was scrolling TikTok endlessly there for a while, that was way worse on my battery.
Oh, there you go, Conan. You've survived through TikTok. Use TikTok all the time. So
you know my excessive TikTok use. I went through
the TikTok guy.
That dark phase for a while. No, look, I am interested. You lost me for a little bit, but then you said really good. You said really good trading card game. So I do love. I'm
you right back in.
I'm just like Al Pacino. I am always actively looking for the next big TCG. And so, even though this is probably not the big one, if this is a TCG that's fun to play, I am.
No, this game's doing really, really well. Apparently, like it's on the front of the App Store at the moment for iOS. When I checked it the other day, like it's done really, really well on its launch. And yeah, it's got that pedigree there. Like I don't know, I can't recommend it enough if you're interested in TCGs.
Yeah, no, I think I might give it a go.
I hope so.
Luca, you got to give it a go.
I don't know if I can. I like. I
You
mean,
can play, you can play this at work.
It's not a very Luke game. I'm sorry, Luke, but there's. I mean, you don't want to collect a black and white. I don't know, Spider-Man.
Can I get Winter Soldier?
Yeah, I don't know if he's in there, but he'll be in there eventually. Everyone will be in there
Does
eventually.
it look like Sebastian Stan?
No.
Oh,
There's all these obscure characters, which is fun too. Like, did you know there's a character called Armor, which is just a girl with a giant red suit of armor?
What a hero!
no.
It's cool.
There
And
we
there's
go.
like different
That's the
styles
next
for the cards. Like
Disney Plus
there's
TV show.
chibi ones and pixel art ones. You got to collect it all. It's fun. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I love collecting, so
I have
doing
seen
that.
people be talking about this recently, like and going on about Marvel. So true. There you go, Conan. Your next addiction.
This is pretty exciting.
All right. So this episode's a bit more of a just like catching up on what we've been playing and everything like that. We'll discuss a couple of things that have piqued our interest. There has been a few news items over the last month that I'm interested in getting your guys' fully fleshed out opinions of. So it seems like, Conan, this is like probably your roundhouse because you love these. There's been a lot of remakes announced recently. And
Why is this my wheelhouse?
I know you're the remake guy. So let me say a couple of remakes, and I want you to tell me which one is the least necessary. So we've got a remake for Silent Hill 2, remake for Resident Evil 4, a remake of the original Witcher, or remake of Horizon Zero Dawn.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I have two thoughts. Firstly,
Yeah.
I actually know. I'm glad you brought this up because I've forgotten it. I am really excited about the Silent Hill remake, especially because Silent Hill was the game that I feel like I missed out on because I never had a PlayStation. It's one of like the granddaddies of horror that everyone who plays loves and talks about. I never had it, and looking back on, it, I'm like, I can't go back to it. It's way too clunky.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to give that a go. Actually,
put-
three of the four are great. Resident
I
Evil.
put The Witcher in the same category as well.
Yeah, no, I agree because I remember I played Witcher 2 and I was like, this game's good, but it's funky and old. And so Witcher 1 I never even touched. So I'm excited for
Witcher
Witcher
1
as well.
was really dated.
Yep. So that's good news. I want to eventually start all these Resident Evil remakes they're doing because
They are fantastic.
I've heard nothing but good things.
The last 4 or 5 years of Resident Evil has been amazing. So,
but why in God's name is
Silent Hill 2? I know,
is
right?
Horizon getting a remake? Luke, you're the soy boy cuck who defends The Last of Us and says that it should have been remade. How in hell are you going to say a 2017 game needs to be defended? Needs to be remade? How?
Look, this is why. Okay.
Oh goodness.
Money.
I've been trying to come up.
I actually have a legit reason for this. If you want me to jump in, tag team me in if you need it.
Okay, tag you in because I have nothing.
There is a Horizon TV show in the works. So releasing something at the same time makes total business sense.
Is that an Amazon show or a
Us?
Netflix show?
Netflix.
Yeah, that's not good. That doesn't bode well for it.
No.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, look.
The CGI budget for that show is going to be insane. I don't know how they're going to afford it.
Like that, Netflix doesn't have this money.
No,
I don't know what they're doing.
No, it's not HBO.
No.
It's not
or
HBO.
even Amazon. Like anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
They could use puppets. Sorry.
Just I don't get it. When I look, I defended The Last of Us. And I'll stand by that. Like I get it. Like I'm like, no, The Last of Us, that is now the definitive way to play the game. I feel like
and you've played it, and so you can
and I loved it.
Yep, all that time you spent.
So this one I didn't believe. When it came out, I was like, bullshit. I'm like, this This is some stuff that's been spun out that's not. I was like, it's just going to be a as in a remaster, not a remake. I was like, it's just going to be up-res, 60 frames a second, 8K, whatever. That's it. It's just going to have like a base PS5 version. Apparently, it's getting The Last of Us Part 1 treatment. And that boggles my mind. I don't get it. I still think Horizon, and I thought this about The Last of Us, like the original Last of Us, I think still looks great. But like Horizon as well, like one of its things was like it's how good it looked in 2017, which is not that long ago. It's not
No,
that long ago at all.
really not.
And I think you can put that against games that came out in late generation of PS4, and it's still held up as one of the better looking games on that console.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get it. The only thing, Griner said that the other day to me as well about the TV show. That makes sense. If it seems like they really want to push Horizon. Like it seems like PlayStation believe in Horizon as a brand. They've got the Netflix show, apparently the remake. They've just done Horizon 2. They're launching PSVR 2 with only one AAA exclusive, and that is the Horizon VR 2 game. It's like they really believe in this franchise and want to push it as a thing.
Like, this is their next flagship. Yeah.
This is their next Uncharted. This is their next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sony has like their model means they need that though, right? Like if they're going to rely on these big franchise exclusives and they only come out every 5 years, that doesn't work, right? They need to have one of those hitting every year basically. So they're going to need 5 or 6 of these big franchises. And I do feel like people have loved God of War for a long time. It has that pedigree. The Last of Us broke out as like, the cinematic experience in games. And I feel like Horizon hasn't hit that same level as those two games. Correct me if I'm wrong, Luke. Like I know people love it, absolutely. But I feel like The Last of Us and God of War both, they're a name that people recognize outside of gaming.
Yeah. And like, but the thing with Horizon and God of War, like people think of Horizon and they think, okay, it got beaten by Breath of the Wild. They think of Horizon 2 and they think, okay, it got beaten by Elden Ring. People think God of War, they're like, oh wow, it beat Red Dead Redemption 2. This game that people hyped up for 10 years. Like God of War seems to be like, I'm not like Red Dead was my game of the year for 2018. Like I love God of War and I'm very keen for Ragnarok, but it did really, really well and people love that game.
Yeah. Like you see that.
There was a damn commercial with Ben Stiller.
Yeah. That's what I was just about to bring up. I was just
and
about to bring
LeBron
up.
James, and Ben Stiller's dressed as Kratos, and I was like, "What the hell is this kind of like?"
What's this? Who is that marketing for? Is what I wonder. I don't know.
It's for me. It's combining.
It got Conan. It got Conan. He got that bundle straight away. Like Ben Stiller.
I suppose they're trying to sell the bundle. Yeah.
It was. I saw that promo and I loved it. I thought it was really funny.
Yeah. It was genuinely funny. I was like, oh no, that was good. That was cool. And Ben Stiller just dressed as Kratos just cracks me up with. I was like, this is great. But obviously they're pushing that, and they're going to have a God of War TV show as well.
Wait, is that happening?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god, what is going on?
I mean, I don't know. All these projects, I feel like they're not happening until I see set photos or something.
Literally, like there's a Twisted Metal TV show.
Yeah, I knew that.
Has cast Michael B. Jordan, I believe, on there. He's in it.
Yeah.
So like that's happening, and Twisted Metal has been abandoned since the PS3, probably more so since the PS2. I love Twisted Metal though. I wish it came back, but yeah, I don't know. They're pushing this thing. They want to be this entertainment franchise with these games and stuff. The main thing that I have faith in, I think HBO Last of Us is going to be friggin' awesome, and I really want it to do well. As in, like, I want people to watch it and be like, I know it won't be House of the Dragons or Game of Thrones level, but I want people who have no idea about this series of this game to be talking about this show on Twitter. Like for the hashtag to go around and people are like, oh man, this new show by the Chernobyl director is friggin' awesome.
That's it. Yeah, I think there is potential for that though with the Last of Us show because
100%.
Yeah,
HBO has well established prestige and like clout. People look at it and go, these guys made Chernobyl. These guys make the big shows. They made Game of Thrones.
And I think all there.
I think this show could honestly be the one that like breaks the boundaries between video like gamers and TV watchers because people will be like, this is prestige TV like Game of Thrones, but it's video game. But so this could be the one that everyone looks at and goes, that's great.
I had someone at my workplace bring up the trailer for the show the other week.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And they've never played a game in their life. And they're like, "Oh, did you see that new one? It's got Mandalorian, like the Mandalorian guy in it.
And
It
you were
looks
just
really
like,
cool." And I was like,
said the
"Oh
show.
my god!" I was like, "Do you know what my daughter's name is?" I was like, "No, that's my life. I love this game." Like, and
Yeah.
for that to be able to think like, "Oh, siblings or like even my parents." It's probably too gory for my parents, but like for these people who aren't interested in games to know that story that I love and these characters, so I can talk about like Joel or Ellie and all this, and they would know what that means. I think that would be really cool to have that, because usually video game movies suck. So if people can experience these cinematic stuff that way, hell, Uncharted did really well. It wasn't a good movie, but it did really well. Like it did well at the
It
box
didn't
office.
really break out as like a thing
Not as a
people
new
talk
thing,
about though.
but it
No.
did surprisingly well at the box office for what they were expecting.
I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these other Sony series depend on how good The Last of Us does, because like if you went by Halo numbers, I feel like it was not real successful. I'd be surprised if it gets a second
so
season.
much better than Halo.
Oh, I hope it is. I'm sure it will be,
Yeah.
but whether it does the numbers and pulls in the people outside of gaming.
Yeah.
I think Witcher did well on
Yeah,
Netflix.
true.
And now
It's not directly related to
blowing
the
back.
game though. There's a little bit of a separation there, I think. But
books and stuff, I guess.
And like just the Henry Cavill fandom, people
Yeah.
I think were just liked Henry Cavill. He really sold
And
that a
now
lot.
they've ruined that. So
Yeah, that's
it'll be
pushing it.
interesting
we
to
get-
see where that goes.
we
But
get
yeah,
we get the bad Hemsworth.
The worst of the three. Yeah.
But I am very keen for the Witcher remake, though. I am very keen for that. So that'll be good. Another news item that happened recently, but it seems like most of it has passed. But I just want to get you guys' thoughts on it. The Bayonetta voice actress, obviously, came out and criticized Platinum Games for only offering her a measly $5,000 to voice this iconic character, which she said she refused, and then they cut contact with her and recast.
she called for fans to boycott the game.
Yep.
Still is calling
True.
for fans
Still
to
is
boycott
calling
the
for.
game
Yep.
and actively encourage people to not buy it and all this sort of stuff. Then our boy, Jason Schreier, came out.
The
He
one
came
true
out-
journalist left in the game industry.
Yeah, came out and basically said, this is not entirely accurate. It was $5,000 a session, and there would have been 4 sessions, so probably 15 to 20,000, which he said was above industry, like standard rate, or anything like that. She came out, denied that. Then when it came out more that was true, she said, "Well, yeah, no, but that's what I said. It was $5,000 basically a session."
Yeah.
And then they offered me $5,000 for a cameo. But when you watch the original videos, that's not all what she was implying. She was implying a base rate of $5,000.
Her backpedaling tweet was really
really bad.
Real
Yeah.
cowardly stuff of like, oh yeah, you're just
You
can tell-
misheard me. But
Yeah.
you should still boycott this $1 million game. That
and
people
she
loved.
doubled down on it to be like, no, I'm in the right. And it's like, no, look, we got your tweets here. We've got it here. You're full of it.
And like, I don't know, everyone loves Jennifer Hale. She's a great voice actress. Oh, and like very popular in the voice acting world. And
Yep.
she was the replacement for Bayonetta. And she was liking tweets that were like, this isn't the full story. Like
Yeah.
people, there's a lot more going on behind the scenes with this. But yeah, it kind of was interesting because, like Conan, I'm sure you saw, like it was basically shows what misinformation can do, because for a day or two it was very much like Platinum Games are horrible, we should
Yeah.
boycott them. The guy that created that game blocked a bunch of people on Twitter, and I think he eventually deactivated his account because we were just like blasting him. And then like one article with journalism behind it comes out and it's like, okay, no, that's not good, but we should still fight for actors' rights and she still has a right to do this. And then it got worse again, and they were like, okay, no, she's pretty shitty. Go buy Bayonetta.
Yeah,
you guys-
support Bayonetta.
The game director speaks Japanese primarily too, so there was a whole like language barrier thing there too that got awkward for a moment.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a messy situation. Do you guys think 20 grand is very much though? Like that seems kind of low for I don't know. When you think about some actors getting paid millions,
But
the voice actors for the Simpsons getting paid millions per
these are
episode.
but these are different fields, right?
They
Like
are.
this is not the same thing. I don't like this argument of, and this isn't against you, like this argument's used a lot. I just don't like the argument of, oh, I'm doing the same job in a completely different field, so I deserve the same. Like, why is my pay low? I'm like, because it's a different field, and Simpsons and like voice actors and certain things earn millions
Yep.
because those shows or movies or properties earn millions. Bayonetta is not the same thing. Video game acting is not the same thing. Is that a problem that should be changed, made in the industry? I'm sure. I don't know the numbers, but like I just don't think it can be compared to
Yeah.
industry standard is
So
this.
I
Mm,
don't like. I agree with you mostly there, Conan.
mm.
I think you know a lot of video games have a really high standard with that. I would not expect not to like just talk about Last of Us, but like a Last of Us person to get paid that, like for their a main character role in that. Bayonetta ain't The Last of Us. The story of Bayonetta isn't why people play that game, and the voice acting in Bayonetta isn't why people love that character or that story. If you know what I mean,
Yeah.
like people play platinum games because of the combat,
Yeah,
and
because
that's
the
like
games.
I've never ever heard anyone talk about like, oh my god, that scene in Bayonetta where like or talking about the story of Bayonetta. I don't. It's not what that game is for.
Yeah,
No,
Arthur
they're
Morgan can ask for more money. Ashley Johnson can ask for more money as Ellie, and because that is, you can't recast Ellie in Last of Us 2. You can't recast Joel in Last of Us 2 without
they
it.
Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey. So they did do
Yeah,
that.
yeah, okay, but you know what I'm saying.
I do.
It's you can't recast Henry Cavill as The Witcher. Like it just won't work. You know, these people like it's different. It's different, and I don't know. 14 hours, 20 grand US
So
isn't too bad, but I understand they are making millions of dollars, but they're not making $1 million because of her voice work.
yeah. I mean, the games. It's very hard to compare games to movies, and the amount people are paid. Like they're such different things. The amount of people who work on a game, I think, dwarfs movie
Which
production
yeah,
over
yeah.
time. But
and
yeah,
she was asking them to boycott the game when hundreds of people have spent hundreds and hundreds of
yep,
hours developing that game is kind of shitty.
That's the
Out of
yeah.
a self like ego thing.
Her attitude reeked of I am Bayonetta and this game lives and dies on me. And I
Yeah,
don't play the game at all, so I don't know what the I can't say it. I'm yeah, I can't speak to or deny if her character, like her voice, is that pivotal to it.
Grown-ups played Bayonetta.
yeah, I
Grown up.
have. But I
How pivotal
like.
was her act?
I mean, I remember her voice. Like
Yeah.
she's casting spells and stuff and saying the name of them in true anime fashion. But it's like you're right. Nobody's coming to buy Bayonetta because of the voice actor.
In the performance. And I look at this more of an issue of it was like 20,000 for say 20 hours a week. That's $1,000 an hour. And I saw some of her tweets back and forth. She's like, there's things like agent fees you've got to pay. Like there's a lot of you've got to accommodate for the amount of time you're not in work because this is shift work. It's like you'll have a
Yeah.
project. It's not like 9 to 5. So you might
Yep.
have to stretch that out. But at the end of the day, if you did this over 4 sessions, that's 4 days of work. That's $5,000, 20,000 in total. That is half a yearly salary at a low salary. So that is some people make that money for 6 months. So you got to
Yeah.
think of it that way. That's
The,
if
the
that's if we,
people she's telling to boycott make
yeah,
that money.
exactly. There are some people who've got it much worse. So I'm sorry, if you're making that much money, if you're making it like if you have 2 jobs a year and you can make enough to basically make a low income wage, I really don't think you can complain. Sure, you can fight for better conditions and say, why isn't the video game industry paying more to voice actors as a whole? Why aren't there all these other issues? That's a topic to engage with. But check your privilege, man. Holy crap. If you're making this much money from one project, is it as enough as maybe it shouldn't be, as it could be in a perfect world? No. But is it still a lot for what you're doing? Yes.
Well, and I guess the proof is in the pudding where this is higher than the standard industry wage. Like that came out too.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know. There's lots of people doing it for less.
Have
They
you guys?
recast goddamn Solid Snake and David Hayter, who was that character as far as I'm concerned, and was famous with that, and they took him out.
They
That
were
was
only going to
different.
pay him. They were only going to pay him $5,000 a
They
day.
wanted to pay Kiefer Sutherland probably way more.
I know,
Probably
you
more.
know they
Way
weren't
more.
paying Keith Sutherland $5,000
No,
a
David
session.
Hayter wage. No chance in hell.
I
Well,
just
you
think
know
this
he was only in that booth for like 3 hours too, because
Legit.
he
And
hardly
he was
talks
just
in
like,
that game.
quiet.
been
Oh,
on
that's
one
it.
afternoon.
That's all he said. He didn't talk.
But you guys saw the movie Spotlight, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I just
Yeah.
watching this saga unfold, I felt like a real Spotlight or All the President's Men energy. This news story came out that seemed to be the truth because in the Twitter sphere generally it's dominated by people who like want to talk about issues like this. And the story came out and everybody was like, the game industry is sexist. She is getting mistreated and victimized. We need to destroy Bayonetta because they're evil, and she should be praised for being a hero and standing up for this. And that was the narrative. And then one plucky journalist fought against the system and uncovered a true story. And like watching it unravel and be like, here's what I found out. Here's some more. Here's some more. And just watching that truth kind of undo her bullshit and watching it sort of all turn and be like, oh, this is what actually happened. This is really bad. It was kind of crazy. It was real like there's a movie coming out of it. So mark my words.
Bayonetta.
They are not.
They are not. Any other thoughts on the Bayonetta situation? It's pretty much been. It's over now.
it's done.
Yeah.
There's not going to more. People are playing Bayonetta. People are enjoying that game.
Yeah.
I feel like she's kind of ruined her reputation, possibly.
Probably
but anyway.
ruined her voice acting career for
Yeah.
a bit. I don't know. It was a lot of bad rep on that company for a while there, and I'm sure that they don't want to be involved in. But
Yeah. Doesn't look good for him.
another news item, Conan. This would be particularly interesting to you. Callisto Protocol banned in Australia. Nah, Japan.
Yeah, I was
Sorry.
gonna say that wasn't the story.
Not yet. Obviously, it doesn't impact us, but we do know about games being banned because Australia does like to ban games every now and again.
Yep.
We do have an R18 rating now, so it hasn't happened as much as it did once.
No,
I
I
like
think
Miami too, man. I still can't believe I can't buy that game in Australia.
Well, the other thing is you can buy the Steam still sells them. Dumb, like I don't know.
Yeah.
You can still buy them on PC.
Yeah, true. Fair enough.
I think we've got a pretty good record now with the R rating to get most things, even if it's like slightly tweaked. It comes
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Um,
I still remember the day Fallout 4 got banned in Australia. Like
Fallout 4 or Fallout 3?
Fallout 3, sorry. Fallout 3.
Yeah.
When he got banned before they changed the name of the drugs.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was all it was.
And that's the thing. They change those names and it's fine. Like I think we will be okay. I think because Japan has some pretty different censorship laws to what we do.
Yeah, they have some strange ones.
So I don't think that this is going to be. I haven't gone into depth, but I don't think it's going to be an issue. It's usually not a matter of like it was too gory, so they said no. I think it's usually things like subject matter or specific content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
Drugs, rape seem to be.
If you were killing children, maybe they would have a problem.
Yeah.
with it, but
And so I don't think we'll let's see, but I don't think we will have an issue with it. I think it will be okay. Gore seems to be okay.
It would suck.
I think
if it got banned in Australia.
it's really things like drug use and if it's motivated to do drugs or gamble and stuff. It's weird things like
yeah,
that's what
But
really
loot boxes are fine. Like,
yeah, that it's all very hypocritical. But
yep.
I mean, I can't watch a single gaming stream without getting 7 gambling ads. So.
yeah, exactly. It's pervasive.
And you can't watch a game of footy without being told to gamble and drink alcohol while you're doing it as well.
Responsibly.
Do it responsibly. Yeah.
This is side tangent. They've actually they're not allowed to use that slogan next year.
I saw that. Yeah,
they're changing
Yeah.
the laws.
They have to change it.
In the new slogans have to be like you will lose money. Basically, is what they
There's
are.
one that's great. It's like there's a good chance you're going to lose, and I'm like, yeah, nice. Conan, you're a fan of the digital future. Call of Duty's Modern Warfare 2's disc is just 72 megabytes of nothing. It's a dummy disc, so you'll have to download 100 plus gigabytes to actually get the game. So if you don't have internet, you cannot play that campaign, which has been the case for a few years with Call of Duty.
I guess I have two questions. Can you explain to me, is it literally like a disc that is just empty, or is it one of those like cardboard discs?
No, it's a disc. It would look exactly like a normal disc if
Oh, so
in EB games. It's
it is
just
an actual game.
nothing on it.
Is there nothing there?
It's just like
it's not there's nothing
you
on
can
it.
download.
There's two ways games are licensed, right? Like if you buy a game digitally, it's licensed to your console. If you buy a game on disc, it's licensed to the disc, so you can resell the disc. So even though this is downloading the whole game, you're still gonna have to have the disc in there to authenticate that you own the game, and you can still sell the disc to someone else, and they will put it in their PlayStation or Xbox, and it will download the game again.
It's just that disc on its own is
Has nothing
Basically saying, "Hey, I own the game. I'm allowed to
It's
play
like
this."
yeah, it's just like a receipt basically.
But that's what all games are now anyway, because the game gets loaded onto a hard drive. It doesn't live on the disc anymore. It's only read off the disc to copy it to the hard drive, and then it still checks the disc to say, hey, you definitely own this game, right? But, it's not, the game isn't being played from the disc anymore. It hasn't been the case for a while.
So, sorry, no games at all
well,
run
I'll
off
be
discs?
damned. I didn't know that.
No.
I guess because it installs on the hard drive.
I mean, that's the whole power of the PlayStation hard drive, right? Like, discs are very, very slow compared to modern hard drive, like other storage media.
And so putting the
PS4 still did it, right? Because I swear, I'd hear my
disk
drive going off. Sometimes I don't know.
I think the last generation would do it, but you always had the option to install it on the disc, and they always ran better. I mean, install it to the hard drive, and they always ran better off the hard drive.
Yeah, and I remember there being something with I feel like I remember the Evil Within 2 was played off disc because it was install was super tiny or something.
Yeah, it was still done a little bit last generation. PC gaming, because it's basically all digital anyway, it's been the case forever. But disc media is very slow. Especially by today's standards.
So if you put a current gen disc in there, it's literally not used. It is just going, you own this game, or is anything read off the disc?
It probably reads it to make sure it's the game that you're saying you're playing. As in, when I put the God of War disc in on Wednesday, it's going to say, hey, this is the God of War disc. I'm going to keep checking this to make sure you haven't removed it and given it to your friends so they can also play. But that's all it's doing. The actual game play is the game is being streamed from the hard drive.
So it's not going to be like there's some sick content on this disc only, and everything else, all the base files are on hard drive, but the actual fun stuff's on the.
It's all digital, Conan.
I'm living my worst nightmare.
I mean, this is literally just a format change. This has nothing to do with digital media.
This is hell. This is the reality. This is the reality of Scorn.
The downloading of the game for Call of Duty owners, it sucks for people without an internet connection, sure. This isn't something that's new. Call of Duty is primarily a multiplayer game, which is kind of useless without an internet connection anyway. I'm sure there's no split screen in there anymore.
100 gig downloads a bitch low.
This is the thing
it sucks.
It's the other thing that gets me, the download size being so big, especially in Australia where our internet's pretty garbage.
My sister has a PS5 and plays games and loves Call of Duty, and their monthly download limit is 30 gig. So it's in 3 months' time, she will almost have Call of Duty.
Yeah, and that's the thing that bothers me. This is one of those examples of there are always people that get left behind in these advancements and these changes.
Yeah,
and so obviously most of the world being Europe, Asia, America, their internet is much better, so this probably isn't an issue. But for Australia or parts that have crappier internet, this is a big problem, and they don't care. The companies don't care for that.
No, Australia is a small market, but the majority of Australia is catching up to the rest of the world too. It's worth noting.
Yeah,
the NBN's not a complete failure.
Yeah,
we left them.
Starlink, get Starlink.
Yeah, I know. It bothers me then. It bothers me when there's no sense of we'll keep both of them in case it's just no, you do it this way and you got to play by it. It's.
I don't know. More frustrating to me is buying a PS5 and expecting a physical game in there and not getting one. And now I have a code for Horizon Forbidden West that I'm never going to use again.
That is bull.
That sucked. Horizon Forbidden West Collector's Edition coming without a disc. I think God of War does that also.
I was just about to say.
That's crap.
God of War do it as well.
I think so.
The collector's edition comes with a download code for the game and a steelbook.
Why do they give you a steelbook and no disc? It makes no sense.
The steelbook's a collectible.
What?
Disc is worthless. We just proved this. You just proved this, Griner.
I'm out of. This is the one that really confused me.
And now you can't resell it.
I expect this kind of behavior from Horizon, not from God of War.
Not from Kratos.
I'm
Not from
upset.
Kratos.
Not
It's all
from
the
Kratos.
same. It's all the same parent.
That's
company.
crazy to me, right? It's literally because those things are literally things saying this is physical. This is a physical
Yeah.
monument to what you love, but they're
Yeah.
still going screw you when I do the
Comes
physical
with Thor's
thing you
hammer.
want.
No, does
But
come
they
with Thor's
can't do
hammer.
a game disc. Like
It's ridiculous.
insane.
I know. I'm not a fan of it. Like, yeah, I don't know. I Speaking on, since we're talking of like the dark digital future, um, Overwatch 2 has a keychain that costs more in the game to have as a little accessory on your gun than what it costs to buy that keychain in real life. Obviously, it's not a big deal, but it's just kind of a funny thing of the world we're in at the moment, where
Yeah.
people can pay for this little cosmetic on this gun, costs the same as what buying that physically would be. But
It's a weird. I have to change my thinking to wrap my head around this, right? Because more people are probably going to see it. More people are going to see it and care about it in the game, so it has more intrinsic value in that sense, and that's
no,
more valuable.
who sees it other than yourself? Because it's your gun.
No,
I don't know. Yeah,
the
I
enemy
don't
will
know.
see it if you get play of the game. That's the only other time it happens.
Well, there you go. And
As
so,
It's
yeah.
and so it makes no sense to me that that's worth anything, but people will buy for that reason because they want to see, they want to show it off. And so it has more value in that sense than it does by having it on your real life backpack or something. But then at the same time, it actually costs the
Costs
idea of
more.
the idea of something costing money because it costs money to make is logical, but not as
That does not cost more than that to make physically than it
I
does to
think
make that available for you to download.
like literally my thinking has I have to rewire my brain for it.
the skin prices in Overwatch 2 are wild. It's like $25 for a skin. I don't know. I'm glad I enjoy the gameplay of that game, because if I was in it for the cosmetics, I'd be a poor man. I don't know. I'm not a person who cares about cosmetics. Like I just wear whatever the best one I've got is, and however I unlocked it, and I never buy them.
And you shouldn't play these games for, I don't know, this is my own opinion, but you shouldn't play these games for cosmetics. I find it so strange. It's like a look how unique I am. It's that classic thing of like, look, everybody, I'm being different, and
Or it's like, look,
you're
I'm rich.
conforming.
I have money.
All
Look,
that, all
I have the
that,
cool
yeah.
character.
And
Yeah.
it's really superficial.
You know, I don't play games online, but when I do buy cosmetics. I can't help it.
I knew you would.
I literally think I spent like $60 on Warzone skins in Battle Royale because I was like, that outfit is cool. I'm playing as Snoop Dogg. I'm like, hell yeah.
I'll buy a battle pass if I'm enjoying the game. Like I don't mind
Yeah.
throwing the developer some money for something like that, but I very rarely buy a straight skin.
Yeah. I expect that as soon as Last of Us multiplayer is released, Luke is going to put every single dollar he makes into that game.
You know what's funny?
I got the Joel in winter outfit.
I want to look like Pedro Pascal.
Surprisingly, I never bought any microtransactions for Last of Us multiplayer on the original one.
Did they
But
have
I
them?
did. Yeah. Oh, heaps. But I did for Uncharted. I got like some gold skeletons and shit with pirate hats on, and like all of the dances. Before Fortnite did dances, Uncharted did them, and they did them way better. They were fully mocapped
Here we go.
by Nolan North. Moving on. I don't know too much about this story. Grana, Candy Crush.
Oh, I don't know much about it. I just thought it was wild that Candy Crush is launching 500 drones to advertise their game.
I didn't know Candy Crush was still a thing.
Yeah.
Me neither.
I don't know.
That feels like early Facebook days, almost like early iPhone.
Feels like light pollution. I don't know. There should New Zealand's passing laws against light pollution, which is really interesting to me because it does, it affects people's. There's like studies about how being able to see the night sky can be beneficial and stuff like this, and light pollution at night can be really detrimental. And this is just another. I don't know. This is just too much. Why do this? Everyone who wants to play Candy Crush is online on their phone anyway. Spend your money there.
The old women
stupid.
on their phones in bed by 9 o'clock.
Is this advertising a new game, or is it just like, hey, don't forget us?
I think it's hey, don't forget us.
Well, I mean, this is owned by Microsoft now.
Not yet.
Oh, because it's part of Activision, isn't it? No. Oh,
King is
it?
part of Activision.
Yeah, okay, it is. Yeah.
And don't worry, PlayStation's doing their best to prevent that from happening anyway.
As they should be. As they should be. Insulting offers by Phil Spencer. Speaking of PlayStation, VR2 launches in February. I believe the Australian price is $900 for VR2. Not too bad.
Isn't
I was
that
expecting
more
it to
than
be
the
more.
console?
Yes, it's
Yes.
$100 more than the console.
Good.
The specs are very good, and compared to other VR of like headsets of that specs, it's actually cheaper than them. So not too bad. Yes, it's more than the console, but when you factor in the fact that the PlayStation 5 Pro controller is $350, it's not too bad of a deal.
Whoever's setting the prices over at Sony is smoking
I
something.
can't believe it. Like, I'm a PlayStation guy, believe it or not, and I'm not touching that controller with a 10-foot stick at $350. No chance. No chance. Sorry, PlayStation. Send me one if you want. Hook a boy up, but
Changed my mind.
no chance. VR2, though, I'll be pre-ordering that as soon as it goes live. Keen for that. Keen for
To
that.
play what?
Horizon.
Have fun with that.
I'm very disappointed that it doesn't have you can't play VR1 games on there. But
Can't you?
no, because all the movement's different and the tracking is completely different, so it wouldn't work.
Okay.
But they're going to update a few. I'm sure they'll update their big, like AAA ones or first party ones.
Yeah.
And they've announced, like, the people that make, Until Dawn and all that, they've announced one that is launching with VR2 as well, a new horror thing. It's like a roller coaster one, like the last Until Dawn.
Yeah,
news.
that one.
Other than that, is there any other gaming news from last month? There was the Grand Theft Auto 6 leak. I'm not sure if you guys watched any of that.
Yeah,
I saw
saw
it. There's no story there though.
No.
It was nice to see other developers come out and show their unfinished work.
Yeah, it was
Just to
cool.
prove how silly it was, the people up in arms about it.
I thought for looking early, it looked promising. I was like, oh, that looks good. Like,
Well, I mean, it looks ugly, but it's supposed to at that point.
it was kind of interesting.
polish
to see
comes
behind the
later.
curtain. Yeah. Last of Us TV show coming out in January. Release date finally. I'm very, very excited
Big
for
news.
that. Nothing else you guys want to talk about? Games for the last month?
There's a Cthulhu themed Sherlock Holmes game coming out soon.
What
Oh.
series?
Kojima rejects rumors, talks about buyouts.
Yeah, he says he wants to remain independent.
Yeah, he reckons he's getting offered a lot of money.
Not worth it. I'm just saying, not worth it.
Hot take: Kojima's overrated.
Yeah, but coming from a Kojima fanboy, I feel like Kojima is best with some shackles. He can't.
Yeah.
He can't be fully creative. Let go, because you know what? Then you have Norman Reedus drinking Monster cans for 50 hours and just like.
Not in the director's cut. They don't have that licensing deal
Oh
in there anymore.
no, not that licensing deal anymore.
You know what's stupid? That mechanic's so stupid. So there's an energy mechanic in that game, and to boost it, you go on your rest and you drink Monster Energy, and you have to do it 4 times to max out the boost. And it's just like, why even do this?
But then if you urinate, it makes it grow.
Makes a bomb, but you can urinate as many times as you want anyway. It's dumb.
Is it a
Weird
subtle?
game.
Is it supposed to be a subtle commentary on consumerism?
Yes,
Yes.
probably. But he's not subtle about anything.
No.
You know who should get together? Nolan and Kojima, because Nolan has really shit names, and Kojima has wild ass names that are shit because they're too
Like
wild.
Die Hard.
Somewhere
Man.
in the middle is the perfect balance, I'm sure.
I could make something perfect.
Die Hard, man.
Or Heartman, because he stops his heart so he can
Heartman.
die for a period of time.
Yeah.
Wild. Mother,
Baby
because
mama?
she has a yes, mama, because she has a dead fetus still attached to her or some shit. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I still remember Metal Gear Solid 4 being all emotionally invested when this woman showed up. There was like Big Boss's like partner, and she was like, "Call me Big Mama." It's just like, okay,
That's
Yep.
it.
okay, I will. All right. Well, thanks for watching. We will be more regular with these every fortnight. I'm sure next fortnight, the 3 of us, Conan, will be talking about God of War Ragnarok and our impressions of that game. maybe just the two of us. I'm sure we'll be knees deep in it. Enjoying that.
Excited.
I'm very excited for it. Like these reviews come out today, I'm like, oh yeah, this is cool. I'm so surprised. It's like every review I read were people saying it was better than the original, which I'm like, holy shit, was not expecting that. Um, so keen for that. Um, Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Share us with all your friends, your parents, all of them. Um, Leave a review on Spotify or subscribe on Spotify. It helps us out a lot. If you like hearing us talk about video games, you'll love hearing us talk about movies. That's available on YouTube and podcast as well. On our other podcast, The Good, the Bad, and the Worst, we discuss movie trilogies, popular trilogies like the Nolan Inception, Interstellar trilogy, and some other
And
random
Prestige
ones
of all
as well.
things.
And Prestige. Not Tenet. Don't get confused with his other trilogy. Um, Check that out. It's really good fun. That comes out every other week as well. This podcast, as always, is brought to you by The Taste of Iron. If you like Interstellar, then you will love The Taste of Iron. A lot of similarities in there. It's all about love and iron. Check it out on Amazon, available to buy on paperback or on Kindle. And we'll see you next time. Peace.
So long.